Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 22 here in the pristine, untouched wilderness of the Calmlands. I've got to get this field out here cultivated and then replanted with oilseed radish again, and I've got to do that today, and I've only got myself. Senleia is currently off sick. She's laid up sick. She's too sick to come out and do any work. So it's going to make life a bit more difficult to get through everything. So I'm not going to worry about washing this one off at the moment. What we're going to do is, I'm not going to be able to drive around anything. I can sort of walk around and look at things, but if we've got the hired help going in the field, that's basically me working. I'm not allowed to do anything else. Just going to make this... Whose bright idea was this? Seriously, whose bright idea was this? This is not helpful. I'm going to do it with the John Deere this time. This is not helpful. Like, I'm supposed to be making this series, like, interesting and entertaining to watch. And now I've only got one hired help that I can use. And if I'm using the hired help, I can't do anything myself anyway. Really? Why are you clipping into the ground? Why is it... I know why it's clipping into the ground. It's not the weight. This is not a weight issue. That is... yeah, that's definitely clipping into the ground. I wonder if I can do this if I unfold it first. Detaching while folding is not allowed. Are you going to push it up out of the ground? Help me out here a bit. Yep, there we go. Right, that will drop down there. Oh. Okay, I stand corrected. That is actually the weight. The weight of the cultivator is just too much for this tractor. Because we've got no front weight. It is too much for this tractor. We need to have a weight on that one. Of some kind. But... we can't really afford it at the moment, so we're just going to have to use this tractor instead. And let's hitch this one up from the correct side, shall we? Alright, it looks like we're using this one. This tractor does at least have a weight on the front. I mean, the John Deere will be able to have a weight on the front. It's just that we've got to be able to actually go and buy it in the first place. Which will cost us a pretty penny, and that pretty penny is something that we don't have right at this moment. So we can have a look around at things while the hired helps are working in the field. Not hired helps. Single hired help. Because Senleia's off sick. Thanks, Sen. Leave us in the lurch like that. Appreciate that, yeah. You couldn't have gone and gotten sick next month. Excuse me. I reckon this is actually about the single most inconvenient month for her to be off sick, because if we were able to leave it, we can't leave it an extra month. That's the problem. If we have a look at this, we've got barley in here. We've got to have the oilseed. The second round of oilseed radish has to be planted today, so that we've got the second round of fertilizer in the field before we can plant the barley next month. So we literally have no choice in this. We're forced into a corner. I can't leave it for a month with Sen off sick or anything like that. I've just got to do it like this, which is really, really not what I was hoping. I didn't want to start this off like this. This is not the way to do it. Let's go in through here. I'll run a little bit up there. And then out round this side. And we'll start it working from this side of the field as well, like we've done before. But I'm not going to worry this time about doing too much along this edge, because I'm hoping that... oh, actually, it's not going to make much difference. We will run along here with this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this out like that. And I'm hoping that that will cultivate the bit that I want it to cultivate, which is most of it. And I've got one little bit here. Am I going to be able to cultivate this at all? Nope. Still no. It's going to be the one bit that it cannot cultivate because of a game mechanic and not because of anything to do with what real life might be like. And that is something that I do find irritating, is when it breaks because of a game mechanic. And it is a game mechanic that should be able to be overridden a little bit. Right? If you've got your cultivator in the ground on each side of that, if any implement is in the ground on each side of that, and it's just the middle piece that is being forced out of the ground, it should still work. Because game mechanics, right? It should override that particular little bit to give it a more realistic approach. Because if you were doing it in real... Yes, I know. If the middle of the cultivator is right out of the ground, it's not going to work in real life either. But in real life, what it would do is when you did that, you'd go over it twice, and the surrounding soil would then fill in that little bit of a gap, and you would ultimately end up with your little patch being able to be cultivated with like 2 passes, and that would be it. Whereas in this game, it just doesn't do that. Because it doesn't shift the soil over, the only proper compromise that you could make on that is have it just ignore the fact that the middle of the cultivator is out of the ground and accept that both ends are in the ground, and therefore it should still work. That's my argument for it. I mean, if you think that it should be different, if you think I'm completely barking up the wrong tree with this, and it should be completely different to that, get in the comment section and tell me. I'd like to hear your points of view on this. Do you think that is the right thing or not? Do you think it should be like that, or do you think it should not be like that? Because I don't like it at all. It's the same when it comes to the combine headers as well. They lift up out of the ground and so on. And yes, it's a bit different with the combine header. But I figure, if you've already been able to correct the issue with the cultivator in real life, then the combine header is not really going to be much of a problem for you. Whereas in-game, it does become a problem. In-game, it becomes a problem because you haven't been able to level it off with the cultivator in the first place, which means going back over it with the combine, you've still got exactly the same issue that you had previously. Whereas in real life, you would have leveled the ground out a bit with the cultivator, and so when the combine goes over it later on, the combine's got crop that it can dip into. So it's a win-win situation, apart from if it's stuck up in the air as badly as it is with this one. Well, I hope that makes sense, my random angry rant. And right now, we've got, Sen is the one who's off sick, and apparently she's also the one that's in the tractor driving up down, so maybe it's Frith that's off sick. He's lying in bed, in the lap of luxury, watching TV and drinking hot soup, and Sen is out here slaving in the fields. Alright, we'll run with that. Go Sen. Go Team Senleia, and Team Frithgar is currently watching TV. He's not watching TV at all. He's probably watching Disney films or anime or something. Or either that, or he's watching films with Jason Statham or Vin Diesel, because he likes those as well. Although he's feeling a bit sorry for himself and he wants cheering up, so he's almost certainly watching cartoon films of some kind, or maybe some anime, but probably cartoon films. Maybe Emoji Movie or Robots or something like that. I don't know. Don't really know what Sick Frithgar be watching right now. Possibly Moana. That's really good. That's an awesome film. Who knows? It's not for me to say. He's in there suffering greatly, Obviously, he feels pain in his heart that Sen is out here working hard in the fields while he is stuck inside, unable to help her. And he really does. He feels absolute pain for that. He can't do anything. In fact, it's so painful that we're not even going to watch it. Now, I cannot do anything. I cannot go and pick up the pressure washer and clean off his combine, because the only worker that we've got in the fields, the only worker we've got on the field today is currently working. And while she's over there working, I can't do anything. That is the rules. We now have our random events, and the random event has dictated this one. And this is not an easy... This is going to be a tough one for us. How's the chickens doing? Let's check on the chickens while we're here. The worker still keeps going while we've got this open, so that's absolutely fine. Let's have a look in there. And I now have... Those are producing eggs. Those are producing eggs. These definitely not. These have still got 2 more days. But we do have 200 chickens now producing eggs, which means that we're going to need to be able to move these. I'm going to move these out of the way because they should be able to be taking up that whole thing there, and I just think that is utterly ridiculous. So I'm just going to shunt them down there like that. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm not actually working there. All I'm doing is just keeping everything clear. Making sure that it's all working, it's all tickety-boo like it should be. One thing that we can do is we can just go and have a look at our grain storage. We've got 2,000 something grain over there. We've got 7,800 left in here. And another thing that we've got is the painted edge on this is way higher than the surrounding ground. I'm wondering if I should lift that up, make some adjustments. I mean, I don't need to. It's not affecting anything. It just looks a little bit peculiar when you go near it and you see it floating up in the air like that. Maybe it's best if we don't mess around with that, because I'm quite pleased with what we've done with the tracks and everything, the way we've made it look. So we've got like 7,000 litres of grain that is still available there. And we've got 2,500 litres here. How fast... We've got 400 chickens here. How fast are they using this up? My concern is that they may be using this up faster than I first thought they would. And so we're going to end up having to go and buy chicken feed. And that's going to end up being rather expensive thing to do. It's going to be a very expensive thing for us to do. Let's go on up here and have a look, shall we? Let's see what's going on. Okay. You carry on down there a minute. And on back up the other way. Let's go over to the tractor and have a look. She's still working hard. Yeah. This is going to be slow and tedious. It's a hardcore series. I'm supposed to not cut anything out, and I have cut out a bit up there. Supposed to not cut anything out. I'm actually tempted to just do the rest of this as time lapse, but I'm not even supposed to do that with a hardcore series. Although some of you have been asking me to. Maybe occasionally we can do little tiny bits of time lapse. Right, well that is the cultivating done. All we've got to do now is get the next bit done. I'm now on a new recording bit, and my voice is a little bit croaky today. I'm not quite sure why. I don't think I've got a cold or anything coming, but I'm still a little bit croakier than normal for whatever reason. But we'll work with that. So if I just finish up this bit, I think we will go straight on with getting the planting done, and I'll probably, well, we'll do like a couple times around the outside or something, and we'll do again, I'll just time-lapse this bit, I think, because although, yes, hardcore, I do want to pretty much keep all the gameplay, there is certain aspects of it that I am going to take out just because I feel like it would be a good idea. So, if we were able to have another vehicle working at the moment, I would be using the other vehicle to go and do some other work, but we can't do that. That is not an option for us, so we're going to have to leave it. It has been suggested that maybe it would be time to get rid of this cultivator, considering the problems we have with unhitching it and storage and putting it away in the yard and all the little things like that, but I don't want to yet, mainly because I want to save every single penny that I can get hold of, and I would like to, let me just shut that one off. I want to save every penny that I can get hold of, and I would like to buy pigs. I want to get pigs going on this map, and we've been quite a long time, and we still haven't gotten them established yet, so I definitely want to be doing something with pigs. Now, I don't have a weeder on this save, do I? And we've got, this would be the perfect time to go and weed this right here. Like, there's weeds coming through. If we could weed this out now with a small weeder, that would be absolutely perfect. We've only got 2,500. We're not going to be able to afford to do anything. So let's clean this off first. We won't go any further than that. I don't like that warning. I mean, I like the warning comes up, it does tell you, but it doesn't go away. So it kind of, it's a bit of an immersion breaker, that is. You know, I'd rather it just sort of say, oh, you've got that far. Oh, that's why. The other one, when you use it, it just sort of, yeah, it doesn't come up with a warning, but also you just can't go any further. It just stops you from going further. This one, though, once you reach the 5 meters and you do go out of range, it automatically retracts. So we've obviously got a spring-loaded feed reel on here. I know it's got the handle on the side for winding that back in, but must be on a spring-loaded thing as well for it to coil itself back up. That has got to... That's not going to do the lance any good at all. If we run out of length there and it sort of goes flying back in onto the machine, that's not going to be doing that lance any good at all, and it sort of flaps around right at the end there and slaps backwards and forwards. Going to end up busting the end off. I don't like that design. I think that's a poor design, that is. So we'll just clean this one off. And then we need to get going with planting. And this, unfortunately, because Sen is off sick for this month, we can't do anything else. Something I did forget with some of these random events, and we'll add more in for the next season change. So it's not the next month, it's the next season change. So when we go from autumn into winter, we will have another random event. But something I forgot was I did also have some positive events. So, you know, some of our animals had twins, so we had extra animals coming in. And there was, like, mold in storage, which was, well, that's obviously a bad thing. There was one, I think, was the next crop on a field had an unexpectedly high yield, so we gained an additional 10% on the crop yield from one particular field, because we had, whatever season it was a particularly good growing season. So there was a couple of little ones like that. Someone did say that they don't like the idea of us loaning money to a friend because we're really, really hard up at the moment, and a friend is not going to come asking us for money when they know just how strapped for cash we really are. Now, I would argue on that one that, yes, admittedly, a friend would be extremely reluctant to go and put you in that position, but they wouldn't necessarily not do it at all. Like, it's not necessarily that they wouldn't do it. I think it would be more that they would just be really, really reluctant to. But they're in a bind. They are in a position where they literally have no choice. They are desperate. And so they've come to us cap in hand asking if they can borrow a bit of money. And all that will mean is that for the 3 months of that season, we have a set amount of money that we're not allowed to use. So if we'd lent our friend 2,500, that means we've got 46 euros left. It's not a lot of money. There's not a lot of money being left over, and we would have to sort of find a way around that. But it's a really good friend of ours, and he was desperate, or they wouldn't have come to us in the first place. Like, if desperation wasn't a thing, if they hadn't been absolutely desperate at the time, they wouldn't have come to us begging for help. And that's what a real friend does. They don't keep all their stuff bottled up, never tell anyone. When they have their hour of need, they go to their friends, and we're the friend, and they, our friend has come to us, and yes, it's difficult for everybody right now. We're struggling, but our friend is in even more dire straits than we are, and they're good for paying it back. We've been friends with them for a long time. So that's my take on it, and I did a couple of people saying, I don't really like this idea that they wouldn't come to us in the first place. If you're really desperate, and you know that you've got a good friend who's sort of seen you through thick and thin for everything, then I would say that, personally, I would hope that they would come to me. I would really hope that they would come to me and ask, because that's when you can make a difference to a friend or otherwise. Now, what were we doing? It's oilseed radish that we need to plant in here, isn't it? Because we want another layer before we go planting. We had oats in here, so we're planting barley in here next after the oats. And yeah, right. So we've got a tight window, which means that we have to get the oilseed radish in. I was just double checking that it is actually oilseed radish that I'm supposed to be planting in here, because I don't want to be making mistakes and planting the wrong crop. So I've got oilseed radish selected. We're going to use the John Deere for this because it's a better tractor. It's more comfortable to drive, and quite frankly, if I was doing this in real life and I had the choice between the two, I had to use the other one for doing the cultivating because the John Deere wouldn't pick it up, and we don't currently have the money to put the weight on the front of the John Deere. But I can do the planting with the John Deere, and this one is altogether a more comfortable tractor to drive than that old torpedo thing. So I would definitely pick this one to operate in real life. Now, I know some of you don't like green. I know there are some of you who don't like green. The big thing about the John Deeres. That's fine. You can drive the torpedo and I'll drive the John Deere. I don't mind. I really don't mind. I mean, yes, you may be able to get past this on account of the fact that this particular John Deere here is not green. So you may be able to justify not sitting in the torpedo and driving this one instead. But I can absolutely guarantee you that I've got no problems whatsoever, no qualms at all about sitting in this tractor and driving up downfield. Because, let's be honest, you have a look at that thing. That is an altogether more luxurious and comfortable experience than sitting in that old torpedo. I'm just going to jump to that one a minute. Right, have a look at that thing. That is going to be noisy, loud. I mean, it's got plenty of space in the cab. You've got a nice bit of room behind you to put your lunch bag. A flask of coffee. Probably after driving this thing for a couple of hours, you're going to need that coffee pretty badly. So, yeah, it's got room for coffee in there. Generally speaking, though, yeah, this one's got room for a bit of coffee in the back there. I'm going with this one. I'm having this tractor, right? Don't care if it's John Deere or otherwise. I mean, I personally actually like John Deere, so it's not going to be a problem for me. But those of you who don't like the John Deeres, and I do understand, I'm not laughing at you or mocking you in any way for that. I understand everyone's got their personal preferences, and you are entitled to choose whichever one you are happiest with. So I will take this green colored bullet for you. Well, actually, the other one's green as well, so yeah. I will take this green and yellow bullet for you that's currently a brown and yellow bullet, and you can have the torpedo, and then everybody will be happy, and we will just be able to move on. So I'm taking this personal sacrifice for you. This is what I am doing for you, the viewer. Anyone that is watching this video that doesn't like John Deere, I am doing this for you so you don't have to be stuck driving this tractor, and you get to have the joyous experience of driving the luxury torpedo over there in the shed at the moment. You can have that one, and you can drive that one up and down the field to your heart's content. So everybody is a winner. Everybody is happy. And this is how it's all going to work out. So I'm just going to want over here. Did I actually sound sincere and sort of like I meant any of that I just said? I really hope so. I really hope so. I'm working on trying to sound sincere with things. I am. I really am. I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to just set a line down through this way, and then we're just going to make sure that it does do the job properly. And then we're going to set the hired help going, and like I did with the cultivating, I think I am going to just time-lapse this bit. I mean, we might sit and watch it for a little bit and just have a wee chat, but you're going to get bored with that pretty quickly, so I figure if we move on from this, and then we can do something else, because Sen is only ill for today, for September, so we've only got the one day that we need to do that, and then Sen comes back out to work, and we've got 2 hired helps that we can use in the field. So we will next month need to be, so in October, we do actually have to cultivate up this field again, and plant it again. So we've got our work cut out for us, but we'll also be able to go and do some other jobs at the same time, so it's not going to be nearly so bad, because Sen can carry on and do the working in the field here, and we will possibly go and get started on the work in the other field up there. That one's only got to have 1 round of oilseed radish though, because we've already got some fertilizer in there. And it's covered in weeds at the moment, in a bad way. So is that one. That's something that we need to look at, is some weeds. So let's just get rid of the weeds. Yeah, see, we've got 1 layer of fertilizer in here already. There's a little bit up through there, but honestly, it's not going to be worth trying to do anything with that. So we'll leave that. We won't worry about it. And we've got needs rolling. Well, it's just this one that needs rolling, and that we will roll a bit later. We're not going to worry about that right now. Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.